Welcome to another edition of the Abrams Boxing Show. I'm Marc Abrams. I'm the owner of the BoxingHour.com and 15rounds.com, the two best boxing websites out there for all the latest news, whether it's big shows, club shows, results, interviews, videos, audio, you name it, we got it there on the BoxingHour.com or 15rounds.com. This week, we'll be joined by Dante Kirkman, who's an undefeated fighter. Also has a great story as he's a student at one of the toughest universities in the country, that being Stanford University out in Palo Alto, California. Not really anything huge going on in the last couple weeks here. I think in June we're really going to start to pick things up. Have a PBC show next Saturday on the 31st, but we'll get into that. We already have some guests lined up that will be fighting on the May 31st show in Las Vegas. But last Saturday, Johnny Fisher and Dave Allen renewed their rivalry. Fisher won the disputed decision the first time out a few months back. They got it on the rematch, and this time it was Dave Allen emphatically stopping Fisher, scoring the fifth round stoppage of their heavyweight bout. Allen dropped Fisher three times in round five. The last knockdown being a devastating left hook that really put Fisher down and out. So Dave Allen's a guy. He's got some losses. I think he's got like 6 or 7 losses. But he's a guy. He's got a shot at something now. He beats the undefeated Fisher, who's a highly regarded, at least very popular fighter in England. That fight took place at the Copper Box Arena in London. So that headlined a Matchroom show on the Zone later that night. Fernando Vargas Jr. went to 17-0 with 15 knockouts. Got him. You got Amato. You got Emiliano, who's with Top Rank. The Vargas kids, they came out with the Vargas dynasty. They're starting to really live up to it. As Fernando, who's 17-0, not just 15th knockout. He stopped Gonzalo Correa 23-8, 9 knockouts, 4th round stoppage. That headlined a Marv Nation event that was live on the Zone at Thunder Studios in Long Beach, California. Also, a couple weeks back, Tyler Langer, who's an undefeated cruiserweight at the Live Casino. Actually, that took place at the Rosecroft Raceway. Undefeated cruiserweight, remained that way. He's now 5-0, scored a 6-round decision, unanimous decision over Rafael Carolina. Jeter Promotions scores are 60-54, 59-55, and 58-56 for the undefeated Langer. And also, this past Thursday night on DAZN, Johnny Mansour remained undefeated as he's defeated Christian Avalos. Mansour now 5-0 with 2 knockouts. Avalos now 3-3-2, 6-round unanimous decision. That fight took place at the Avalon venue in Hollywood, California. Scores were 60-54 on all 3 cards. This week, again, nothing huge, but there's some world title fights. Friday on the Zone, Terry Harper takes on undefeated Natalie Zimmerman for Harper's WBO lightweight championship. Also on the card, Maxie Hughes takes on Archie Sharp. Like Harper and Hughes in both those fights. Friday night / Saturday morning, I guess technically Saturday morning in the United States, Saturday in Japan. Angelo Leo defends the IBF featherweight championship against Tomoki Kameda of the Fighting Kameda brothers. That will take place on ProBox TV. Also on the card will be the IBF strawweight title. Pedro Turaban takes on Gunjiro Shibeka. Sorry, my eyes are a little. We're taping this late Thursday night. That would be for the IBF strawweight title. May 24th, that'd be Saturday on the Zone. Josh Taylor takes on Ikal Asusman. I like Josh Taylor moving up the welterweight in that fight. See what he can do at welterweight, the former unified champion at 140 pounds. Earlier this week, I had a chance to talk to a very interesting young fighter named Dante Kirkman, who, like I said, mentioned he's undefeated. He also is a student at Stanford University, and this is how it went when we talked to Dante Kirkman. Now joining us on the line is undefeated Dante Kirkman, who gets back in the ring to try to extend his record, which now reads 4-0 with 2 knockouts. He fights May 24th against Jose Manuel Gomez in Pleasanton, California. Dante, what's happening?
Not much, just finished a run. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining me. You're just finishing up, or about your first year as a pro. It's kind of like it could be like almost like a 1 year birthday for you. You turn pro May 18th. The fifth fight's on May 24th. Talk about so far being a professional boxer for a year.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about the same thing, just a 1 year mark. So it's been awesome. So like this fight will be 5 fights in a year, which I think is great activity for somebody at my stage. And I'm just looking forward to continuing like this next year. Like I look forward to getting the most amount of fights I can. Yeah, I've just loved this first year.
And we'll get into this in a second, but that what you said is actually good for me because anytime that a guy who goes to Stanford and I are thinking together, that bodes well for me. So we'll get into your whole college experience in a minute. So tell the fans out there a little bit about yourself, your amateur career, maybe your style of fights, and so far, the first four fights.
Yeah, amateurs. I was ranked nationally in the top 10 in the country a few times, competed in the Olympic trials, where I finished with the bronze medal in the Olympic trials in 2024. I then transitioned to be a pro, had my first fight about like 5 months later. And here we are now, looking to be 5-0, hopefully get 3 knockouts if possible, but just win by any means necessary. My boxing style, I'm a thinker. I like to think. I can bring pressure. I can really box in any style. I have a lot of boxing inspirations, and me and my team work very well and really just try to do whatever is necessary. So we really try to be boxers, but we also have the punching ability. So I would say a boxer puncher.
Just doing a little research and get some information from your man Mario Serrano. He told me a couple very interesting things about you. And this ain't shocking at all. You actually started your pro boxing career a little bit before you actually stepped in the ring. You worked for Mayweather Promotions for a little while, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so I interned with Mayweather Promotions in 2021, and then like some fights later in 2022. It was like great experiences. I got to actually my first fight, which was interesting, was Mayweather versus Logan Paul, which was definitely an interesting spectacle. But yeah, like I got a lot of great experiences traveling to Atlanta, to Orlando, New York, just getting like the overall pro experience actually before being pro, seeing how fighters like Gervonta Davis operate on the highest level in these big venues, like 16,000 people, and just getting to see how like the whole fight week works. It was truly a blessing, and I'm just very thankful.
And then you probably also learned some and probably a lot about the business end of things.
Yeah, a whole lot.
So let's segue into I touched on for a second. Very difficult to be a professional boxer as is, but you're doing it while not only as a student, but at one of the most prestigious and toughest universities in the country, Stanford University. Go Cardinal! I always say that to
Cardinal.
always say that to people that want to know what school they go to. I mean, how is that juggling? Well, first of all, what were you? I mean, when did you start your amateur career, and how were you juggling that with school and probably big time calculus classes and all kinds of other stuff like that?
Yeah, so I started boxing when I was 10. I had my first fight, I think like maybe a year and a half later. And I've academics have always been very big in my family. My brother, he is 8 years older than me, and he went to Stanford. So he kind of just like put in my head that going to like an elite university was possible. And so just really anything that I do in life, I like to try my best at. And so like even though I always like from the beginning knew I wanted to be a professional boxer, it was hard for me to like go to school and not try. So just like when I applied myself, like I ended up just working my way to get to Stanford, and it was not easy. Like I remember in high school, I'd be going to USA Boxing national tournaments and missing like a week of school, which is not good. It's definitely not good. But at the same time, going to the study halls that USA Boxing would set up, actually like you said, doing calculus at the tournaments after I fight or whatever. And yeah, it's definitely been like a very interesting journey, and like I'm thankful to be Stanford's first ever professional boxer, and I just believe that's a testament to just how much I work hard, and then just how much I love boxing as well.
What's your major?
I'm an art practice major, so I do photography mainly. I did some photography at Mayweather Promotions and USA Boxing, and then I also just do like some writing as well.
Very interesting. You looking maybe you're looking for a media job when you're done with this. Could that be in the future?
Yeah, that could be. I think what would actually be very interesting is if like I fought and before I'm a main event one day, but like if I fought and then after fighting went and took some fight pictures, I think would be very funny.
No, actually, no. I have an idea for you. I'm going to say this, and everyone watching says it.
Mhm.
No, I think would be amazing. Maybe you should do an article on one of your fights from your
That would be
perspective.
really cool.
From your perspective.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there. I would read that. I mean, obviously, we you hear the interviews. I did this, I did that. I think it'd be very interesting to hear what you think about your fights. A day after. More than just a 2 minute interview, 5 minute interview. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard of that before. So that's yeah, I really like that idea.
Look at me. I'm teaching a Stanford kid what to do. Jeez. Oh, if only my English teacher in high school would see me now. So around campus, I mean, do people recognize you as that's the kid who's the pro fighter? Are you known a little bit around campus as that?
It's a bit interesting because like Stanford has so many successful athletes. Like they've had a whole bunch of Olympians. So like I would say, like I'm not like famous, but like there are people that like you're like, oh yeah, like you're the boxer. Like I've had classes where like I just introduce myself as Dante, and somebody comes up to me after like you're the boxer, right? Like and so like stuff like that, but nothing like crazy.
See yourself bringing a fight card? I know you probably fought in and around the area, but you actually maybe someday you bring a fight to Palo Alto.
Yeah, I think better yet, bring a fight to Stanford. I
Yeah,
think that would be insanely cool.
Stanford is Palo Alto, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
just mean like at the football stadium or something.
Oh,
Or
that'd be unbelievable. That'd be
yeah.
unbelievable. What do you think? Just a little off topic. What do you think of Stanford being in the ACC? That's a little weird, isn't it?
Uh, I know a couple people that play sports, and the traveling is tough for them. So I don't know about being in the ACC.
Who were your boxing idols, or who do you pattern maybe some of your game after?
Well, being from the Bay Area, it's very hard not to be influenced by Andre Ward. So definitely him. But I think with him, more of like a mindset of being able to do whatever is being asked of you, working hard, and just like knowing if your opponent fights a certain way, then you got to adapt like this, and just being able to pull every trick out of your bag. Um, Also, kind of hard to avoid in my generation is Floyd Mayweather, and being a Mayweather Promotions, like he's the smartest to do it ever, and that's something that's just always been interesting to me. The main reason I actually got into boxing was I remember I was watching Floyd and Miguel Cotto, and just seeing how he won the fight was just amazing to me. So yeah, those two are definitely my biggest inspirations.
I again just reading the notes provided me. Your mother, who's also an attorney, is your manager. How has that so far been? And actually, to again have someone who's an educated professional and someone who understands contracts and all that stuff. That's a pretty good asset for you, knowing that your mom, someone who is going to look out for you, is doing all that work for you.
Yeah, and it's just like you said, like my mom loves me. I love my mom. I can trust her, and she can trust that I'm gonna fulfill on my end what it takes to be a fighter. Um, and just being in the sport and seeing, like since from a young age, I've seen and heard how mismanaged and mishandled people are in this sport, and just knowing that my mom has my back and is more than qualified to is truly a blessing.
What so like I said, on May 24th, it's gonna be 5 fights in just over a year. And
Mhm.
not only do you have this great story as you're juggling not only being a college student, but at Stanford, that's basically the Harvard of the West, pretty much, or maybe Harvard's the Stanford of the East. I don't know which way you want to put it, but you're a big time boxer. You had a distinguished amateur career. I believe you made to the finals of the USA Nationals, if I'm not mistaken.
Semifinals of the Olympic trials.
Semifinals of the Olympic trials. And who were some of your amateur rivals?
Um, I don't know about rivals, but I fought a lot of national champions and a lot of people that were number one in the country. Um, I would say like the Olympic trials was probably like my toughest tournament. In the first round, I beat the Golden Gloves national champion. In the second round, I beat the national champion of the weight class above me, actually.
Wow.
And then in the semifinals, I lost to Keon Davis, who would eventually be the champion of the Olympic trials.
I always ask fighters, especially when they're young in their careers and they've had a distinguished amateur career, maybe a guy they lost to, is that a fight somewhere down the road? I know it's not the front of your mind. You have a lot of work to do. Keon's got a lot of work to do. Is that a fight somewhere down the road that you would love to revisit and get paid for it?
If he's a champion, I'll fight him. I just want to be the world champion and be pound for pound number one in the world. So literally anyone who is in my way for that, I will fight. And if it happens to be him, it happens to be him.
Who trains you?
Eddie Croft,
I know Eddie Croft. Okay.
Bay Area legend.
Yes, absolutely. Anything you want to say to the fans in closing before we let you go? Again, you're fighting May the 24th, fight number 5 in just over a year, taking on Jose Manuel Gomez. And what do you know about him? He's 4-5-1, veteran guy in there. What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, he's very experienced. He's been boxing from a young age, just like me. He's got a lot of experience, and he's fought some like pretty good opponents so far. So it's definitely like my biggest test, but it's the test I wanted. I asked for him as an opponent because I saw his fighting style. This is gonna be my first 6 rounder, and I want to push myself. So I just really want to tell the fans that I'm going to put on a show, just an overall boxing display of my ability. Boxing display of my ability. And yeah, just show what me and my team have been working for. So I also just want to thank my coaches Eddie and Casey Croft, and then also my team Snack. They've just been incredible in my career.
Yeah, working over there. A lot of great fighters are over there with I guess their strength and conditioning and stuff like that over at Snack. When you were working at real quickly, when you were working at Mayweather, the boss ever take you aside and give you a few pointers?
For Floyd, he's a busy man, so no, I never got to speak to him personally, unfortunately.
Um, Map it out in 2 years. We're having this conversation. Where are you in your career?
Hopefully, with let me try to do the math in my head. In 2 years, probably, hopefully, like around like 14, 13 fights if I can. Hopefully more if I can fit it in. But yeah, just trying to work my way up the ranks and but become a contender in the middleweight division. So yeah, just hopefully closer to a world title.
Is what you're doing in school? Do you see yourself in grad school, or once you get that diploma from Stanford, you're just going to concentrate on boxing?
Ooh, I don't know about grad school. I got
Okay,
5 more weeks until I graduate. So thank you.
that's awesome, man.
Um, yeah, I got 5 more weeks, so I think I'm I'm gonna take my degree, and go all in on boxing, and I've just been very thankful to be Stanford's first professional boxer.
Do you have a nickname?
Dante the Inferno Kirkman.
Okay, there you go.
Dante's Inferno.
Not gonna use the Fighting Cardinal or anything like that, or.
I never thought about that. That might be a good idea.
I don't know. You come in with you wear a Stanford jersey or something into the ring?
I don't know if I can be like affiliated with the Stanford brand since I'm not like I'm just a student. I'm not like a Stanford athlete. So like
yeah, but I mean you can go in the student union building, buy an Andrew Luck shirt or Andrew Luck replica jersey and put it on. No.
Yeah, I mean that could be cool actually. I haven't really thought about that. So you give me a lot of ideas I'm going to steal.
Just no, I actually think I've been doing this a lot of years. I've interviewed fighters of all kinds of walks of life. There's been a number that were juggling college, but like I said, first of all, I'm a big college sports fan. So a big time university and Stanford, which everyone knows what kind of a university that is. I think it's pretty fascinating. You should be commended for what you're doing, and you're doing both at a high level, which is, I think, an amazing thing, Dante.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much.
Well, I look forward to talking to you throughout your career, and as you make your way towards a world championship. Wish you best of luck, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you, Dante. Thank you, man. There you have it, Dante Kirkman, a very interesting young prospect. Like I said, he's got brains on top of being able to be a top prospect. You heard the amateur accolades he had. So it's not just a kid who, he's going to college, going to a great school, and this kid can fight. Couple news items this week. Cuban lightweight Andy Cruz will take on Hinori Mashiro for the IBF Eliminator in the lightweight division. That will take place June the 14th at the Theater of Madison Square Garden underneath George Kambosos and Richardson Hitchinson. I always call him that. Richardson Hitchens defends his IBF 140-pound championship. WBA interim bantamweight world champion Antonio Vargas has been upgraded to full champion. The move came after champion Seiya Satsumi suffered an injury and will sideline him for several more months. So the WBA upgraded Mr. Antonio Vargas to be the full world champion, and we'll look forward to who he faces first to defend that full world championship. Well, that's a show for the week. I want to thank Dante Kirkman for joining us. Next week, we already have one good interview in the can. Going to look for another one as the boxing season, the early summer boxing season really starts to heat up next week with the big super middleweight doubleheader in Las Vegas, and we'll preview that. Again, theboxinghour.com, 15rounds.com. Subscribe to Abrams Boxing on YouTube, Marc Abrams Boxing on Instagram, Marc Abrams Boxing on TikTok. So just we're all over the place. And Abrams Boxing on X as well. So everyone have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week on the Abrams Boxing Show.